Welcome, guys. We're going to make a cute little jack-o'-lantern doorknob cover. He's super simple, and before you know it, you'll have a bunch made. Like I said, he's super simple, so just follow along, and I'll show you what you need. You're going to need some scissors, a crochet hook, 3mm crochet hook, and you're going to need a tapestry needle. Any kind's fine. This is just a little metal one I have. And some stitch markers. Optional. And if you want, go ahead and run over and grab the pattern. It's on my Etsy page, and I'll have it linked below. There are a few illustrations in the pattern to help you along if you need illustrations. If you don't, just follow along. And you're going to need some big twist is what I'm using. Orange, 4-weight, medium 4-weight. You can use any color, any yarn you want. This is just what I'm using for the video. And I've got a little skein of Just Yarn by Premier in black. And again, you don't have to use the colors I'm using. Grab what you want, what you have in your stash. If you want to use it up, this is great scrap yarn DIY. This green is our Meadow Green from Premier. Is also a 4-weight acrylic. All this is acrylic yarn that I'm using. And forgot to add in stuffing. There you go. Alrighty, to get started, we're going to do a magic circle. And there's plenty of tutorials out there to do magic circles. So you can go ahead and watch those if you like. We're going to chain 2. And we're going to do 11 more double crochets in this magic circle. That chain 2 does count as a stitch. So we're going to do 11 more double crochets. And you're going to end up with 12 double crochets in your magic circle. And I apologize, I'm out of the screen here. I don't know what I was thinking. It's just so easy to pull your yarn, your work toward you, instead of pushing it away from me. So it's just kind of unnatural to push it away. So just bear with me, guys. I do straighten up, and you will see it. But always go back and count your stitches. I always go back just to double check and make sure you've got 12, counting that chain 2. And just pull on your little tail to tighten up your circle. And we're just going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 2. Count your 1, 2 there. And just slip stitch to join. And you're going to chain there. And you're going to chain 2. And we're going to do 2 double crochets in each stitch around. So you're going to go back into that chain 2 space, and you're going to make another double crochet, because your chain 2 counts as a double crochet here. And so just in each stitch around, 2 double crochets. You're going to end up with 24 double crochets in this round 2. So at this point, you'll have 4 double crochets, and that'll be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, and 12. And just notice I am working over the tail as I'm going around. Get it out of my way. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, if I can get it in here, 18, 19, my stitches got a little tight here and my tail's in my way, 19, and 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. And you're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 2 again to join. We're going to chain 2 again. Alright, and this chain does count as a double crochet, so we're going to go right there in that next stitch, and we're going to put 2 double crochets. And then the next one will be 1 double crochet. So at this point, you should have 4 double crochets. In the next stitch, 2 for 5 and 6, single for 7, double 8 and 9, and you're going to continue this around to repeat 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets. And you will end up with 36 stitches in this round 3. Coming up here to our last stitch for 36, and now we're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 2 to join. And we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and now we're going to work in the back loops only here, guys. See the little V there? You're going to work into the backs of those V's. So we're working back loops only. And you're just going to do single, or yeah, one stitch, 1 double crochet in each back loop only for a total of 36 stitches. So we got 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And you just keep going around, guys. I'm not going to sit here and count them off with you. But I will stay here with you and we'll do the whole row together. Alright, coming up here to the end for our last stitch of 36, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 2. Alrighty, come up here to the end and we're going to chain 2, and don't forget to slip stitch to that chain 2 and to join your round. Chain 2. This chain 2 doesn't count. I just do the chain 2 here to give it height to go into your next stitch. But you're going to skip your next stitch and do a double crochet for 1, skip the next stitch and go into the next and do a double crochet for 2, skip the next stitch and go into the next stitch for 3, and I apologize, I was about out of the camera again. Skip stitch, go into the next for 4, I think we were on, yeah. But that's your repeat round, is skip 1, double crochet 1, skip 1, double crochet 1, and go all the way around, and you're going to end up with 18. Alright, coming up here to the end, and you're going to see that chain 2 is kind of laying over, and you can skip that chain 2 and actually go into your next first double crochet, or you can go in the top of that chain. It doesn't matter, it still works out. And you're just going to chain 1, and then you're just going to go into every stitch around with a single crochet, and so you'll end up with 18 single crochet. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Now I slip stitch to close mine. You don't have to do it. You can actually just finish off normal, but I do a slip stitch to make it look kind of flatter on the back. So right here I just go in the next stitch and I just do a little slip stitch just like that, and then I chain 2 because when I cut my tail and I pull it through, I make a knot at the end of mine. So because this thing's going to get a workout probably going over a doorknob, stretching it back and forth, so take my thumb and just pull down, and it just makes a little knot right here on the back. So, and everything's nice and flat and even. You can see the little knot there. And that just gives it an added security, you know, because it's going to be stretching over your doorknob. And then all you got to do is get your tapestry needle, and we're going to weave in that tail. And you can turn it inside out. It would make it easier. I just kind of turn it half inside out, and then I just go on the back sides of my stitches and just kind of go down through and just catch the backs of those stitches. That way you're not messing with the front any. Of course you're probably not going to see it because it's going to be on the bottom anyway, but just catch the back of the stitches, and I go down and I go over a little bit. That way it kind of helps give a little added security through the backs of those stitches. And then I go back through by skipping where I just came out, skip that one little stitch right there, and then go back through. And that just gives it some added security so it'll stay. And then just trim your little tail off. And your main portion of your doorknob is complete. So you can leave it like this if you don't want to make a jack-o'-lantern. If you just want a plain little doorknob cover, just leave him just like that. But there it is. And now we're going to do our face. All right. Now, I'll use that where we finished off right there as my bottom. That's my point to make sure I keep everything even and to the bottom. Now, get your tapestry needle and your black yarn or whatever color you want to make his face with. And I kind of eyeball where I want it. And I go between rows 1 and 2 right here. And that kind of gives me an idea about how big I want to make my eye. And I come up through between row 1 and 2. And then I lay my yarn in the angle that I want my eye to lay. Or how, the top of the triangle, how I want it to lay. I lay it up there. And that way it kind of gets me my angle. So I'm no embroiderer when it comes to using yarn. Now I can use my machine and my digitizing stuff all day long. But when it comes to actually hand embroidering stuff, I am no expert. So guys, you can follow along and do it the way I'm doing it here. Or you can do it any way you want to do it. If you don't want triangle eyes and you want round eyes, make round eyes. I'm just merely trying to give you an idea how I do it. So just bear with me. Like I said, I'm no embroiderer when it comes to hand embroidery. But all I did was make a little triangle just like that. And now all I do is fill it in. I start in this one corner and I pull my yarn through. Oh, and guys, when you're doing this for the embroidery, make sure you do not catch the back of your doorknob cover. You'll see through the video here in just a little bit where I do catch it. So I make mistakes and I still catch it, and I know not to catch it. So it is very, very easy to catch the back of your doorknob cover. So please keep an eye on that and make sure you keep it out of the way. But back to the fill in here, all I'm doing is just going back and forth through the top here, and then I go back to the bottom and I come up right inside my bottom line there. If I can get my needle through where I want it, and I pull up and then I go back down through, and all I do is I keep doing that till my little eye is as full as I want it. So if that's the way you want to do your eye, go for it. Follow mine. Do it just like mine. That's wonderful. But if you don't want to do it like this, like I said, just make it your own. And, there's really no wrong way to do it, I guess, because it's a jack-o'-lantern, and it's just like you're carving him, and you're making him however you want him. Make him scary, make him cute, make him however you want him. So, see there, I'm checking to make sure I do not catch that back. And now, if I have my yarn long enough, I would have kept going and went on over to my next eye and not even had to cut my yarn here. But for the video, I'm going to go ahead and cut the yarn and tie it off here and then go and do my next eye. But you don't have to do this. You can make sure you pull your yarn long enough. It just takes longer and it's harder to maneuver with a longer piece of yarn. But for video purposes and try to make it as easy as possible, I go ahead and cut it off and start a new piece. And all I'm going to do here is do this eye on the second eye the same way as I've done the first one. I just kind of eyeball where I want it, how far apart I want it. Still going between rows 1 and 2 again, and just kind of eyeballing exactly where I started the other one. And I just start right here in the center, and I lay my yarn up across and get my angle, because I want it kind of angled the same as the other one. And look here, I'm looking at the back. I'm trying not to catch that. And I caught it. So here in just a second, you're going to see me. I'm going to pull all this out. So bear with me, and we're going to kind of start over. So I don't know how I caught it, but I did. Yep, right there. See, I knew it. I went right through it and caught it. So I'm going to try to fix it, and it don't work, so I just pull it all out and we start over. That's the best thing to do. Just pull it out and start over. Oh, so just bear with me. It's just the way things work. See, I still had it caught, and I just said, that's it. I'm just starting over. Oh, but yeah, guys, I make mistakes. I do. I make mistakes all the time. So don't worry. Just it's your project. Go as slow as fast as you want. But just make sure you don't catch that back. But here we go. We're going to just start it over, and I do my little eye the same way as I do the other one. And my tail is getting in my way back here in the back. This little eye was trying to give me a fit, guys. It really was. Wanted to be difficult. So I'm getting my line. See, my tail is still catching. But I'm going to get my line. It's still pulling. See, I don't know what I was doing or why it was catching back here. So I'm trying to pull it to get it tight in the back. I'll go ahead and go down through and get my line across my bottom. And there's my eye, my outline for my eye anyway. So I'm going to come through the corner here, and we're just going to do it the same way. Come up and go up to the top. You know, I'm going to go ahead and trim this tail. It gets in my way, and I'm tired of it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it so it's not so long, and I don't have to worry with it. So we're going up here to the corner, and we're just going to go down through and then come up through the bottom again at the where the bottom line is, and just go right back down through at the top. So just keep doing it till you get your little eye as full as you want. And you can even leave a gap there at the bottom if you want, like a pupil in the eye. You know how when you're carving out your jack-o'-lanterns, where you can make a little it's a pupil, I guess, but it's a little cut out in the eye itself, and it gives it like a pupil. So there's no other way to say it. It's a pupil. But you can do it that way. All right, we got it finally. And I made these eyes a little bigger than I made that one laying back here in the back. And I kind of like his eyes a little bigger. But you can make, like I said, you can make them big, you can make them little, round, almond shape. You can, the sky's the limit. Do them however you want to do them. So now we're just tying it off, and I'm out of the frame of the camera again. I apologize, but all I did was tie it off, and then I cut my tails. All this is on the inside of this guy, so you're not going to see them. If you are making this for somebody else and you want to leave your tails a little longer and weave them in back there, by all means, weave them in. But this one's just for me. Probably going to be going my granddaughter's door, so I didn't bother with trying to weave in the tails of the eyes. And, of course, if I'd have left my yarn long enough and not have tied them off, I wouldn't have had that many ties anyway. It would have just jumped straight over and done the second eye, and then I'd have went down and done the nose, and I wouldn't have had to worry about doing a lot of tying. There would have only been one tie back there, one knot. So, and now I'm doing the nose, and I'm doing it the same way as I do the eyes. I just want it to start basically at the base of those eyes, but in the center, and I just lay my yarn in the angles that I want it, so I know exactly where my next line's gonna go. Here we go. I'm just pulling it across there and going down, and then I just come out up there at the top. If I can get my needle through. All the struggles. Okay, now I'm just going to go right back down through and make my little triangle, and then just fill it in. Same way. And I go ahead and cut my tail, like I said, this because I'm not going to fiddle with having all those ends back there catching. Because I think I'd already caught that one. I think that's what I had done. Or it was loose back there. I didn't pull it all the way through good. And I'm making my end a little longer so I have more yarn to work with on the front. And I'm fiddling with it for a little bit. I apologize. The things we do, and sometimes we don't have to do, but you know, just trying to get my yarn to come through on the front so I have more to work with to do the inside feel of his nose. Alrighty, now we're just tying off that nose and trimming out those little tails there. Or trimming them off, not out. And now we have our eyes and our nose. Now, here's the mouth. And you can do the mouth, like I said, you can do anything you want. But this is the way I do mine. I take my hook and I find where I'm going to start it. And I kind of like to base it off of out from where the nose is there at the end. Make sure you don't catch the back of your cover. And I come up through just right out from even with my nose there. Well, go back down through, sorry. Go through, pull up a loop. Make sure you got a long enough tail on the back. Pull up a loop and then go down where you want your next stitch to go. Go down through, grab your yarn, and slip stitch it back through that loop. And then you just kind of follow along the bottom there, you know, in the way you want your mouth to go. So I'm just pulling up a loop and slip stitching through. Going down through where I want my next stitch to go. So I want to drop it down further. Or do I want to go up? Yep, I believe I'm going up. Alright, and then I'm just pulling back through and slip stitching. I'm going to go up a little bit more, right up at the base of that nose. I'm going to pull through and slip stitch. Then I'm going to turn it. See how my mouth is starting to get jagged looking? And I'm going to turn it and I'm going to go down. So you just kind of make it flow with the way you want your mouth to look. And it makes like a little chain stitch across your face there. And it looks really cool. I like the little chain stitch. And just pulling up your yarn back through and making that slip stitch. Go up. And going up again at the base of the nose there at the corner. So I kind of lay my hook the way I think I want my next stitch to come up through. And then go down, pull up, slip stitch. Looky there, making a nice little jagged mouth. And then just go down back through where you want it to go. And slip stitch. Maybe. If I can get it back through here. It's catching on a thread. Yep, let me redo that. There we go. And slip stitch. Now, got a nice little jagged mouth happening. And you can drop the mouth down. I think my first one I done, my mouth was a little lower. And this one I made a little closer to my nose, which it turned out fine. So you can move the mouth around however you want. And looky there, I caught my back. Wouldn't you know it? So just go down through and pull back through and slip stitch. That's all it is. Down through, pull up a loop, and then you start your slip stitches. There we go. I'm going up toward my eye with a slip stitch. And there's my mouth. And now I'm going to finish off. Did I catch that? Maybe. Yes, I did. So we're going to redo that one. Going back up toward my eye with a slip stitch. And going back through, pulling through with a slip stitch. Now cut your tail long enough, and then you're just going to pull it through, and that finishes off your mouth. And then you take your tapestry needle, get it on your tail, and we're going to go back down through to the back, and then you're just going to run your yarn tail through the back of your stitches and tie it off and with a knot. And I do it the same way as I do the eyes when I finished them off, and run through the backs of the stitches and make a little knot. Well, I go through the backs of those stitches a little bit back and forth, and then I do my knot. That just kind of gives it some added security to keep it in there real good. Now I'll make my little knots here. Yep. I'm going to go back through and pull it and just make my little knot. There you go. And you probably get by with one knot, but I do two, just to be on the safe side. And there you have it, guys. And just trim off your tail. And there is our jack-o'-lantern. Now you can leave him like this. You don't have to do the hat, but let's get ready to do the hat. Alright guys, we're going to do our magic circle for our hat. And we're going to do 6 single crochets in the circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, I thought I miscounted there for a second, but yes, there's 6 in the magic circle. And sorry, I bumped the camera. Let me get you in here just a little closer. And we're just going to go right into the round. And you're just going to do a single crochet in that first stitch. And put your stitch marker in, because black is really hard to see and keep up with, so I go ahead and put my stitch markers in when I use black yarn. And you're going to do another double or another single crochet in the same stitch as you just done the first one. And then the next stitch you're going to do 2 more single crochets, and that'll bring you to 4. Next stitch, 2 more double, or I don't know why I won't keep saying double crochets, single crochets. And that's 5 and 6. 7 and 8. Oops, got caught there. 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 and 12. There we go. Yep. Sorry about that. Got caught on that one for a second. So you should have 12 single crochets in your second. 1, 2, 3. Yep. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, make sure you got 12. Always go back and recount. Because when you're videoing, it does get hard, and I do get kind of sidetracked, and I forget where I'm counting. All right, now we're just going to go on in for this third round with a single crochet in your first one. And then the second stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochets. That'll be 2 and 3. 4 for a single. 5 and 6 for 2 and 1. And then 1 for 7. 8 and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So you have 18 in your round 3. Counting back. Yes, making sure I have 18 because that just had me thrown off there from the get-go. And now we are going to go in the back loops only, guys. I know it's really hard to see, but there's a little V there, and you're just going into that back loop of the V. And I messed up. You gotta go back, skip the stitch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. All right, now it should start to roll, kind of like a little top, I guess you could say. Since we've done the back loops, it should make it kind of roll. And now we're going to go into our next stitch with a single crochet for our next starting of our next row. And we're going to just go through regular both loops this time and just go single crochet all the way around. There's 2, Oops, hang on. I went in the back loops and I didn't mean to. I think that was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if I'm right, 8, 9, 10, 11, get in there, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Now, you're going to go the rest of the way around. You're going to go up to row 7. So this is row 5, and you're going to go to row 7, and I'll meet you at the end. All right, guys. And we're coming up here to the end. Our last stitch for 18. And now we're going to slip stitch to close off that round. And we're going to chain 2. 1 and 2. And this round, round 8, we are going to go into the front loops only. So instead of the back loops, we're going into the front loops of the V's. Yep, right there, just in the front loops. And this time we're going to half double crochet in the front loops. And you'll go front loop 1, 2, oops, sorry guys, I messed up. I'm going to pull this out. You got to go in the same stitch as your chain 2. So you're going to half double crochet in the same stitch. You're going to put two half double crochets in that chain stitch. So 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochet in the front loops, guys, don't forget, in the front loops. That made 3, like a little cluster in that same stitch. Your next stitch, you're going to go 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and that for 6, count for 6. And then your next stitch, you will do 3 more half double crochets. So it'll be 7, 8, 9, and then the next stitch, 10, 11, 12, and that's what it's starting to look like. 13, 14, oops, 14, and 15. There we go. And you just keep repeating that. 3 half double crochets in each stitch around. You're going to end up with 51 stitches all the way around. Alright, coming up here at the end, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 2. Oh, 1. Sorry, I got to finish it off here. 2 and 3 for 51. And you're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 2 to fasten it off. And I do two chains, and then I cut my tail. Now here I did not cut my tail long enough. My pattern tells you to leave a long tail, and I did not do that. But I do add on another piece and make it long so that you can have a piece to sew it to your little jack-o'-lantern head, your doorknob cover itself. And I'm struggling with my knot because it knotted on me before I could pull it down. So you see it's not all the way flat. So what I do here is I just take my tail and I pull it through the next stitch to pull it flat, so it doesn't stick out like that. So all I'm doing is just pulling it through and making like a slip stitch, and I'm gonna pull it through. See there, it flattened it right out and you don't even notice it. But I do add on a piece of black, and I make my tail longer. And you'll see here in just a second, right here. I went ahead and added that extra piece, and I made it longer. And now I'm just going to take my tapestry needle, and I'm going to run that through to the center of my hat. I'm just catching the backs of those threads, and I'm just going through to the center to where those loops are. The remainder loops from where we went through the front loop only, it left a loop for the inside, and that's what we're going to use to sew your hat onto your doorknob cover itself. Right there, those little loops, that's what we're going to use. And you can put the hat in the center, you can put the hat to the side, you can put the hat anywhere you want to. And guys, this hat is a little different than that one that's laying back there at the back, so I did redo that and revise my pattern because I like this hat better. It looked more like a hat that you use in the garden, that type of shape. That's what I was going for, the one you actually see on the scarecrow. So I do change my pattern, and you will receive that new pattern. It won't look like that one up there. You do get the one that's got the prettier brim on it. And now here's an added bonus that's not in the written pattern, and it is putting that little band on. And all I do is I take my crochet hook and I go down through at the back between I went between rows 7 and 8, I think. And I don't hold it up so I can see what I'm doing here. It's between the 2 rows that are right before your brim. You can see right here how I'm doing it. Because you want it high enough you can actually see it. So I'd have to actually go back and count that. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Between 7 and 8. And I'll just pull up a loop. And then I go to the next stitch. And I go down through and I pull up another loop and I slip stitch. That's all I'm doing, is I'm slip stitching. I go down through, grab the yarn, pull it back through, and slip stitch through that loop. That's all I'm doing. And it makes a little chain, and it's really cute. And it's just like we done the mouth. It's identical to what we done with the mouth. You're just going down, pulling your yarn through, and slip stitching through your loops. And just make sure you're staying in a straight line and going all the way around the base of the hat there. And you could put that band anywhere you want on the hat. I just wanted it to be seen, so I actually come up. I didn't want it right down on the brim, so I actually come up between the 2 rows above the brim where it starts. So I think that's 7 and 8. And I just work it all the way around. And if you'll make sure you leave a tail at the beginning. See that little green tail sticking out? If you'll leave you a little bit of a tail at the beginning of when you start, and then when you trim off here, you'll see me tie a knot using that first tail that I left hanging out. That just kind of helps secure it on. So I wanted to tell you that ahead of time before if you made it ahead of the video and got ahead of me, that you wouldn't cut your tail off too short. But that's what I do, and I just make sure everything's straight, and then I go ahead and cut my yarn, and I make sure you leave a tail. And now you're going to pull it up through to fasten off. Yep. And pull it up through, and it fastens it off. And now you're going to take your tapestry needle, and just go right back down through the first stitch. And that will close it off, and then pull it to the back. And now you've got your 2 little tails, and you can make your knot on the back. And that just gives you a secure stitch at the back where it will stay on. And no need to cut these tails, guys. once you tie your little knot, just shove those tails up into the hat. Because if you decide to stuff your hat, you're not going to see it anyway. So if you don't stuff your hat, you may want to trim them, just so they don't fall out later. But I do take just a tiny bit of stuffing. This is a dark stuffing. It's supposed to be black, but it's brown. And I just stuff it right on in there. And that just kind of gives my hat a little bit of puffiness and keeps it from flattening out totally. And then I just put my tapestry needle back on my long tail. And now you're going to go to put your hat where you think you want it. Up top or to the side. And then we're going to attach it to that loop where the row 4 was, that front loop that we left there. You're going to attach it to a loop. Doesn't matter which one, just depends on where you want to place your hat. And you're not sewing to every loop. You're just going to space it out and catch the hat just right up. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. You're just going to go right back up and catch one loop on your hat now. Doesn't matter if it's... Yep, I'm spacing it out just where I can catch it just right. And I'm going to pull it back down and I'm going to go back into a loop over a couple. And then I'm going to come back up through. And I'm going to catch a loop on my hat. And I'm just spacing it, like I said. So you don't want to mash the hat flat. So I'm just catching a couple loops all the way to the edge of my hat. Right here, I'm going to catch the hat loop. And now I'm going to go to the back. I'm going to turn it. And now I'm going to come down and I'm going to catch a loop right there, right before we done skip the stitch. You're going to catch a loop off of it. And go back up and catch your hat. Get one of those loops from under there. And just space it. Just spacing it just enough just to hold the hat on your on the doorknob cover itself. You can see here I'm catching another loop off of that chain space there, or not a chain space, but where we skipped a stitch. And I'm making sure my hat looks okay and it's going to be good on there. And then I go and I pull it and tighten it down just a little. You don't want to over tighten it because you will lose the shape of your hat. And it's on there pretty good. But now I'm going to go in and catch another stitch up at the front from the front loops, and I'm going to catch the hat again just for added security. I catch that loop, and now I'm going to knot it. I'm going to tie my knot right up under here. I'm going to do 2 knots. That's the 1 and 2, and I catch my doorknob cover. Sorry about that. And just pull it tight, and then run your rest of your tail up through your hat and trim it off. And there is your doorknob cover, guys. Is that not adorable? You can even add some stuff to it if you wanted to, and put like some straw maybe under there. You can go all out. Make him your own and have fun with him. Hope you make many of these, and I hope you enjoy them. Thank you so much for watching.